down the line, you could possibly even seeing some of these big sports programs disconnecting from the universities. You've been in a pre-NIL and now post-NIL as the athletic director. Do you have any insight on this or this type of possibility?
I think you're dead right, Nick. I think you look at the popular media,
Yep.
and very rarely is there ever the reference that there was previously to the academic component. I tried to preach to in fact, at our staff meeting yesterday, I said, look, we got to distinguish ourselves from all the other entertainment out there. We've got to retrench ourselves in the academic realm that gave rise to this opportunity. And for the rest of my living days, I'm going to try to figure out how to keep that thing together because it's so valuable. You guys both were beneficiaries of it.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be such a shame if we lose that opportunity. So many young men and young women got the chance to get a great education through sport. It certainly looks like it's on the way out the door.
It definitely feels like it's waning, and under the shadow of this $2.8 billion NCAA settlement. Could you give us a little insight as to what in the world is going on for the layman out here who's just seeing NIL as this just all-encompassing thing that's changing college sports so drastically?
Yeah, really, it's the NIL is sort of the moniker that's been given because it was the one crack in the dike that opened up. So now everything becomes name, image, and likeness.
Right.
But really, it's a proxy for paying athletes for their athletic performance. And so we can mask it all we want, but we've got to figure out how to embrace it and then figure out how to make sure that the opportunity for kids to make money. And I'm not saying that's bad at all. Don't get me wrong. But the opportunity to make money is still coupled with the academic components that made college athletics so special. And, we in the NCAA, we haven't figured out yet how to do that right.
Having these athletes make money is not necessarily the problem. Like what we've talked about a bunch is the transfer portal. This free-for-all and kind of Wild West where kids can just bounce around. And we're seeing some of the best players in football and basketball. You look at their history and they've been at 3 or 4 universities, like a new school each year. Ideally, how would you, if you say you had a magic wand and you can kind of control the rules here on what we do with the transfer portal, do you have anything in mind on how we can kind of rein this in a little bit? We went from, okay, you had to sit out a year if you transfer, to now do whatever you want. How would you?
Yeah. I sort of harken back to my roots about the transformation in the NFL from no free agency to a modified free agency system. I think we should be targeting something like that, such that after your first contract, and maybe the minimum contract is 2, maybe it's 3 years. Then you could be eligible for some sort of migration opportunity because candidly, we give the kids an opportunity to choose when we try to preserve their right to choose where they want to go to school.
Right.
And sometimes they choose incorrectly. They didn't have the right academic background. They didn't have the right opportunity athletically, whatever. So yes, they should be given the right to go try it at another place. But there has to be some balance there between what the university's putting in to their education, to their ability to go out and get a new one. So I would look to something that would be a minimum commitment especially in your first iteration, and then as we look at the latter parts, are there stages where you can trigger your own free agency and your opportunity to move? We got to figure out how to carve this up into different units that can have essentially different rules based on their own sport. You guys play football, right? So developing as a football player, you sort of develop a little later in life because you get your man strength, mid-20s. So there's a different mechanism to growing a football player. Likewise, basketball is different. Soccer's entirely different, right? So soccer's got a year-round schedule, and it's just a different development, and the outcomes are at different points. So I think each sport has to federate by sport most efficiently, and then I like your idea of tiering it depending on where you're designated, and maybe that tiering, Nick, you're over there in the EU. Maybe there is the what do they call it, relegation?
Yeah,
Oh,
there you go.
yeah.
Exactly.
One,
There you go. There you go.
you can earn your way up into the next level. I think that makes a lot of sense.